It's just after midnight, August 9th, 2017, inside a quiet home in the Auckland suburb of Epsom. Everything is still. A newborn baby, just 11 days old, is asleep in its cot. The house is locked. The neighborhood is silent. But what no one inside knows is that someone is already there, watching, waiting. And within minutes, the baby will be gone. The baby had been in the care of a 21-year-old woman named Nadene Manukau-Togiavalu, and according to Nadene, this wasn't the first tragedy she had endured. She said she had given birth to 2 baby boys, but one of them had died. Now, less than 2 weeks after welcoming another child into the world, she was facing the unthinkable all over again because this baby was gone. Nadene had already been on edge. She later said that when the baby was born at Middlemore Hospital in late July, she heard about another baby that had been stolen, and the thought had stayed with her that someone, somewhere, was capable of doing something like that. So when it happened, it felt like her worst fear had followed her home. In the quiet suburb of Epsom, just after midnight, Nadene was heard screaming, "The house has been robbed! The house has been robbed!" But as police would soon discover, there was far more to Nadine's story than anyone realized. In November 2014, Nadine's world began to fall apart. Her 17-year-old cousin was killed outside a party in central Auckland. Nadene was there. She held him in her arms as he bled to death. Later in court, she said, "He was my little cousin, and I was supposed to look after him." For Nadene, it wasn't just grief, it was guilt. The kind that lingers, the kind that changes you. She was later diagnosed with PTSD, and from that point on, life didn't seem to get any easier. Nearly 2 years later, desperate for a fresh start, Nadene asked a friend if she could move into his family home. She needed stability, somewhere safe, somewhere calm. At first, it was only meant to be temporary, a few weeks, but weeks turned into months, and over time, her relationship with her friend became something more. But his family didn't improve. Tensions grew, and eventually, Nadene was asked to leave. But by then, the relationship had already changed her life because Nadene was now carrying something she couldn't walk away from. Nadene said she was pregnant, and for a moment, it felt like things might finally be turning around after everything she had been through, the loss, the instability, the grief. This was something good, something to hold on to. But it didn't last. The man she said was the father wanted nothing to do with her. According to Nadene, when she told him the news, he didn't just reject it, he became angry. She tried to reach him, called him, messaged him, even showed up at his workplace, hoping he might change his mind. But instead, she claimed he threatened her. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a fresh start became something frightening. So Nadene went to court. She filed for a protection order. In her application, she wrote, "I am constantly worried for the safety of my unborn child and myself." But in the end, she couldn't go through with it. The process was too much, too stressful, especially with a baby on the way. So she withdrew the application. And just like that, Nadene was alone again. No partner, no support, no stability, just her and the child she believed she had to protect. until there was one person left she could turn to, a friend, someone she trusted completely. The baby was almost due, but for Nadene, the anxiety was overwhelming. There was only one person she felt she could truly rely on, her friend, Sydnee Taulapapa. Sydney had always been there for her. Nadene spoke about her constantly, trusted her completely, and that trust went both ways. Because at one point, Nadene had cared for Sydney's children. There was a bond between them, one built on responsibility and trust. So when Nadene asked Sydney for help with the baby, Sydney didn't hesitate. Even though she was living in Australia at the time, she flew to New Zealand in mid-July, just weeks before the baby was due. When she arrived, Nadene was overjoyed. The two of them spent hours talking, planning, preparing, getting everything ready for the baby. And by August, with the due date just days away, Nadene held a baby shower. Her room began to fill with gifts, baby clothes, supplies, a brand new cot, everything she would need to care for a child. Then finally, on August 8th, the moment everyone had been waiting for seemed to arrive. Sydney called Nadine's mother, excited, telling her she had taken Nadene to the hospital and that very soon Nadene would have her baby girl. Everything was finally falling into place. In the early hours of August 9th, what should have been the happiest moment of Nadine's life became a nightmare. The baby girl was gone, taken from her cot in the middle of the night. CCTV footage showed a woman moving calmly through the house, not rushing, not panicking, like she knew exactly where she was going. The front gate was electronically controlled, and yet the kidnapper simply opened it, which meant one thing: they had access. Hours later, police found the baby alive, safe. And in the driver's seat was Nadine's closest friend, Sydnee Taulapapa. At first glance, it looked like the case was solved. But then Sydney starts talking and everything begins to unravel. Because Nadene isn't the victim. She isn't even an accomplice. She's the one who planned it. All of it. The baby didn't belong to Nadene because Nadene was never a mother. She was the nanny in someone else's home. And once police understood that, everything else started to make sense. For months, Nadene had been faking her pregnancy, wearing a prosthetic belly, adjusting it over time so it looked real, so it felt real. She told friends, she told family, and eventually she told Sydney. But by then, the story had changed. Now, Nadene claimed she had already given birth, that the baby had been adopted out, and that she wanted her back. She offered Sydney money, $19,000, to help her take the baby from a home in Epsom, from a family who trusted her to care for their newborn child. And Sydney, believing the story she had been told, agreed. This wasn't a desperate mother trying to protect her child. This was a carefully constructed lie. because the child she claimed was hers had never been hers, not for a single moment. Nadene was later sentenced to prison and eventually released on parole. The courts acknowledged her psychological struggles and the trauma she had endured. Sydnee was discharged without conviction, though she had played a role. And in the end, this case became something more than just a crime. A web of lies, so detailed, so convincing, that for a long time, no one could see through it. Because the story Nadene told felt real. But there was always one person who knew the truth. Nadene.